Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're cutting right through the noise and dismantling the internet's biggest myths about app development. We're relying strictly on the facts from our source material to give you a clear look at what it actually takes to build something useful, without all the fluff and false promises.
So, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way first. We have to ask the question that literally every tech tutorial out there promises to answer: can you just quit your job, build a few apps from your couch, and get rich? I mean, it's the ultimate modern dream, right? Well, those viral tutorials definitely sell a dream of absolute financial freedom. But the pragmatic reality? It's a bit of a cold shower. Most apps today simply aren't profitable unless they're strictly business to business. That basically means your realistic choices are either building apps for a massive bank at a standard 9 to 5, or quitting your job to build indie apps and making absolutely zero money. In fact, our source points out a hilarious bit of irony here. Even YouTube itself wasn't a profitable app until around 2014.
Okay, so since casually getting rich overnight is officially off the table, let's pivot. Let's do something way more fun and, frankly, more rewarding. Let's just build a useful tool. Think about all those neglected, unread PDF research papers sitting on your laptop right now. You know the ones, you bookmarked them and you totally forgot about them. Well, we're going to build an app to finally help you read them. To actually solve this massive reading backlog, we're going to use a really cool technique called RSVP. That stands for Rapid Serial Visual Presentation. Basically, it involves flashing words onto the center of your screen really fast, just one or two at a time. This is brilliant because it completely eliminates the time-consuming need to physically move your eyes from left to right across a page.
And here is where it gets crazy. 500 words per minute. Think about that for a second. While a typical person reads at maybe 250 words per minute, using RSVP can instantly boost your speed to 350, 400, or even 500 words per minute. And the absolute best part is that it requires literally zero previous training. You just look at the screen. So we're going to build an app that does exactly this for your unread PDFs.
All right, we obviously need a name for our app. We're going to simply call it Read Faster. I know, it's not exactly groundbreaking. You might be tempted to spend hours brainstorming the perfect, trendy startup name. But as the source smartly notes, half of the most downloaded apps on Google Play lack creative names anyway. Functionality beats a fancy name every single time.
Now, if you're sitting there feeling a bit underprepared because you just have this simple idea, don't worry. Tech companies love using fancy jargon to make themselves sound bigger than they are. Let's translate some of these. Pre-profit? Yeah, that just means they're losing money. Pre-revenue means they aren't charging for anything yet. Pre-launch is just unreleased. Pre-product means you literally just have a PowerPoint presentation. And my favorite, pre-idea, that's a startup that has absolutely no clue what they're building. They just know they want to blindly use AI. So by simply having a concrete plan for Read Faster, you are already way ahead of 99% of startups out there. Okay, moving right along to Section 1, Anatomy of an App.
Before we actually get our hands dirty with the code, you need to understand the core pieces of what we're making. The first essential piece of the puzzle is your UI, the user interface, commonly known as the front end. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's the buttons, the text formatting, the menus, the actual screens the user clicks on and interacts with. Keep in mind, this front end is going to look and behave a little differently depending on whether your user is opening it on a web browser, an iPhone, or an Android.
Next up is the backend, or the server-side framework. Now here's the secret. You don't always need this. But if your app requires users to log in, save user profiles, or access their specific data across a bunch of different devices, this is your invisible engine. It acts as a remote server to safely store and keep track of all those passwords and accounts.
To really put this into perspective, let's look at two totally different apps. Think of Tinder. Tinder absolutely requires a massive, robust backend. It has to keep track of user accounts, who matched with who, and all those complex ranking algorithms. But if you look at a simple game like Flappy Bird, if it's just tracking a local high score right there on your specific phone and there's no global leaderboard, it doesn't need a backend at all. It is entirely a front-end app.
The final piece of this basic anatomy is packaging and publishing. This is honestly just taking all your completed code and wrapping it up into a finalized format that your phone or a web browser can actually understand and execute. Once it's packaged, you push it to an app store or host it online.
Section 2, Coding with AI and Kotlin. Let's get to the actual building phase.
So instead of sitting here manually typing out every single line of code, which would take forever, we are going to use what the source calls vibe coding. We're letting AI do the heavy lifting.
Now, notice how fast tech moves? The tool Bolt was incredibly popular just weeks ago, but as the source jokes, it's pretty much already obsolete. So scratch that, we're skipping it. Instead, we're using Google AI Studio as our main workspace, and we'll leverage a different AI, Claude, to write the highly detailed prompts that will feed into that workspace.
The absolutely crucial decision here is our underlying framework. We are telling the AI to build this using Kotlin Multiplatform, which is an amazing, completely free technology from JetBrains. Its main superpower? You write your code exactly one time, in one single codebase, and then you can deploy it everywhere. Android, iOS, desktop, web, it doesn't matter. There's zero need to exhaust yourself writing 4 separate versions of the exact same app. Under the hood, your app's architecture is cleanly divided into 2 halves. First, you have the shared logic. This is the brain of the operation doing the behind-the-scenes work, reading the PDF file, sequencing the text, and doing the math for that rapid 500-word-per-minute timing. The second half is Compose Multiplatform, and that handles your UI. You design your nice-looking buttons and screens once, and Compose makes sure it renders natively and smoothly on any device. No clunky, lagging interfaces. To make this whole process even smoother, the source really recommends downloading the IntelliJ IDE coding workspace to manage everything. And if you need a reason to love Kotlin, here's a fantastic stat. If you've never used it before, it requires about 40% less code to achieve the exact same thing as traditional Java. 40%! It is wildly efficient.
Section 3. Deploying for free. Time to put this out into the world.
Okay, so your app is coded and you've previewed it in your workspace. This leads us to the final boss of app development, putting your creation on the internet without going entirely broke in the process. Now, officially, yes, you should rigorously test your app across various inputs, mash all the buttons, and meticulously hunt for bugs. But let's be real, as the source humorously admits, a lot of indie developers essentially completely ignore this formal step. For a fun, personal project like ours, just playing around with the live preview is usually enough testing to say, looks good to me, and move forward.
Now, we have to actually choose how to deploy. The big, shiny Publish button in Google AI Studio really wants you to deploy straight to Google Cloud. And sure, they dangle $300 in free credit in front of you, but there's a massive catch. They demand your credit card info up front. Since we want a truly free solution and absolutely zero surprise charges down the line, we are actively dodging that trap. We're going to use a platform called Vercel instead, which offers totally free web hosting.
Deploying to Vercel is an absolute breeze. It's just 3 steps. Step 1, you use GitHub as a sort of middleman. Just sync and store your code in a free GitHub repository. Step 2, grab that repository link and paste it right into Vercel to connect the two. Step 3, literally just click deploy. Within minutes, anyone across the globe can access your brand new RSVP reading app through a simple web link.
Now, as we established earlier, our Read Faster app is entirely front-end. It's just reading local PDFs, it doesn't need to store global user data. But what if your next big idea does need a back-end? Maybe you want users to log in, or you need a global database. Well, the Workspace offers a Google-owned service called Firebase. You literally just click Yes when the system prompts you, and boom, your back-end architecture is instantly generated and ready to go. It's that easy.
And just like that, your app is built, it's live, and it's out there. I absolutely love this quote from the source material about what you should do next. It says, use it once and forget about it. Add it to your resume, or LARP as an actual software developer. You can proudly slap this project on your resume, even if it just gets auto-ejected by some corporate AI screener. Or you can just have fun live-action role-playing as a tech genius to impress your friends.
We've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. You now know the rather unglamorous reality of app profitability, you can decode dense startup jargon, and most importantly, you know exactly which free AI tools and frameworks can instantly bring an idea to life. The technical barriers that used to stop people are completely gone. So I want to leave you with one final, exciting question. Now that nothing is holding you back, what will you build?